We're moving in a different direction that requires more contemporary methods, he stated, glancing briefly at his business degrees hanging on the wall. Healthcare technology needs innovation, not maintenance. My name is Thomas Hartwell, 54 years old, and until 20 minutes ago, I was the Senior Systems Director at Evergreen Medical Center in Riverdale, Pennsylvania. 16 years of building and maintaining the digital backbone of a 400-bed hospital. Dismissed in a half-hour meeting. Jason Reed sat behind what used to be Dr. Abernathy's desk. 41 years old with an executive MBA and zero medical background. 5 months as our new administrative director and already slashing like he was performing surgery. His sidekick, Megan, leaned against the windowsill, constantly checking her phone, probably updating her LinkedIn profile before I'd even left the premises. The technology consulting group will oversee the transition to a unified digital platform, Jason continued. Your termination package includes 4 months' salary and the standard non-disclosure clause. I nodded silently, feeling the weight of my ID card against my chest. 16 years without a single major system outage. Not during the ransomware epidemic of 2017. Not during the 3-day power failure of 2022. Not even when budget cuts forced me to operate with half my team and I worked through weekends to keep everything running. Security will escort you to collect your belongings, Jason said, sliding a folder across his desk. We'll need your access badge and all system passwords. I unclipped my ID and placed it on the desk. All the emergency protocols and documentation are in the secured server room archives. Perfect. Jason smiled for the first time. I appreciate how professional you're being, Thomas. Change is difficult but essential for progress. I looked at Megan, probably 28, already sliding into the conversation as if measuring for her new office. She hadn't asked me a single meaningful question about our systems during her entire month of evaluation. Is there anything else we need to know about the systems? Jason asked. I should have mentioned the proprietary bridge I'd created between the pharmacy database and patient records. I should have told them about the custom security protocols that needed manual verification every 2 weeks. I should have warned them about the backup system that required specific activation sequences during any major update. Instead, I said, no, nothing important. I followed the security guard past nurses who'd called me during Christmas dinner when their workstations crashed, past the oncology ward where I'd personally rebuilt the monitoring system after a flood, past 16 years of dedicated, unacknowledged service. In the parking garage, I placed my box of photographs and personal items in my car and drove away without a backward glance. They didn't want my expertise. They wanted me gone. It would take exactly 12 days before they realized what they'd done. I joined Evergreen after a corporate downsizing at age 38. Transitioning to healthcare wasn't my plan, but my daughter Sophia's chronic health condition meant we needed reliable insurance coverage. The hospital offered stability and excellent benefits, so I accepted the position and learned medical systems from the ground up. During those first years, I worked closely with Dr. Abernathy, the previous administrative director. She understood what mattered. Fancy dashboards don't save patients, Thomas, she'd say. Reliability saves patients. So I built reliable systems. Redundant servers, backup power systems, manual workarounds when necessary. Not glamorous, but dependable. I missed my son's football games when the medication administration system needed urgent updates. Postponed anniversaries when critical security patches had to be implemented overnight. My wife Laura understood. What you do keeps people alive, she'd say. After Sophia's condition stabilized 5 years ago, the hospital had become my second home. The staff had become extended family. Nurse Patel in cardiology, who always saved me samosas during overnight upgrades. Dr. Martinez in emergency, who'd check in during late-night troubleshooting sessions. Even Carl the janitor, who kept me company during weekend maintenance. Everything shifted when Dr. Abernathy retired last year. The board recruited Jason Reed from some corporate hospital chain in Philadelphia. His first directive was launching a complete technological assessment. The red flags were immediate. Jason never showed up for technical briefings. Never asked about our infrastructure design. Just scrolled through his phone during presentations, barely paying attention. Then came Megan and her team of consultants with their identical tablets and buzzwords. Digital transformation, cloud migration, system optimization. I attempted to explain our specialized environment. The patient record system connects with 19 different clinical platforms, I told them. Some commercial, some custom-built. We've developed specialized interfaces that. We've implemented these transitions dozens of times, Megan interrupted. It's a standard process. The warning signs multiplied. Diagrams of our network appeared in conference rooms, but they omitted entire sections of critical infrastructure. Questions about essential security measures went unanswered. My detailed emails outlining emergency protocols received polite acknowledgments, but no follow-up questions. One Thursday, I discovered contractors taking measurements in my office. Just planning for renovations, one said, avoiding eye contact. I updated my resume that night. Something told me to prepare, though part of me couldn't believe they would eliminate the one person who understood how everything connected. I was wrong. They didn't just want updated systems. They wanted a new story, one without the experienced voice highlighting potential problems. The reality hit me 3 days after my termination. Sitting at my kitchen table, surrounded by job postings and half-empty coffee cups, my phone kept vibrating with messages from hospital colleagues. How do I reset the authentication for the radiology system? Texted Sarah from IT. Where's the configuration for the pharmacy interface? Asked Robert, the database administrator. I didn't answer. My severance agreement was clear, no unauthorized assistance. The realization wasn't satisfaction. It was a heavy certainty. They had no idea what they'd done. Evergreen systems weren't just programs you could swap out like changing a light bulb. They were complex, interconnected ecosystems I'd cultivated for 16 years. Custom interfaces between incompatible vendor systems. Workarounds for regulatory requirements. Manual procedures where automation wasn't reliable. I'd documented everything meticulously. Hundreds of pages of technical specifications, configuration notes, emergency procedures, all properly filed in the secure archive. But documentation couldn't replace understanding. Couldn't replace 16 years of institutional knowledge. Couldn't replace me. My phone rang. Jason's number. I let it go to voicemail. Thomas, we're having some integration issues with the laboratory system. Just a quick question. Call me back. I deleted the message and poured another cup of coffee. 5 more calls came through that day, each voicemail more urgent than the last. I deleted them all. That evening, Dr. Martinez called from his personal phone. Thomas, did you hear what happened today? Emergency couldn't access patient histories for 4 critical cases. Had to call previous hospitals directly. Took nearly an hour to get medication allergies. I closed my eyes. Was anyone harmed? Not this time, he said. But Jason's new team is completely overwhelmed. They're talking about reverting to paper records temporarily. I felt a strange calm settle over me. Not revenge. Not satisfaction. Just clarity. For 16 years, I'd been invisible when everything worked perfectly. My missed family events, sleepless nights, and constant vigilance meant the hospital ran smoothly. The doctors could treat patients. The nurses could administer the right medications. All that mattered was keeping the systems alive. And now the systems were failing. I'm sorry to hear that, I said carefully. Jason's been asking if anyone has your personal contact information, Dr. Martinez continued. The consultant team seems totally lost. I thought about the hidden backup server in the sub-basement. About the paper documentation in the fireproof safe in my former office. About the security protocols that would begin expiring in exactly 15 days without manual renewal. I wish them luck, I said. After hanging up, I walked to my desk and retrieved a business card I'd kept for years. Catherine Wong, technology director at Westlake Hospital. She'd tried recruiting me multiple times over the years. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted to be somewhere my experience was valued. I picked up the phone and dialed. Tuesday morning, my email inbox exploded. 26 messages from Jason with increasingly desperate subject lines. Quick question about patient records, urgent, critical system failure, emergency assistance needed, hospital-wide outage. I read them all but responded to none. My severance agreement didn't obligate me to fix their crisis. The final email dropped all pretense. Thomas, name your consulting fee. Whatever you want. We need you back ASAP. I was halfway through drafting a professionally polite decline when my doorbell rang. Jason Reed stood on my doorstep, tie loosened, eyes showing exhaustion. Thomas, he said, forcing a smile. Thanks for seeing me. Can we talk? I let him in, offered coffee, and waited. We've encountered some unexpected complications with the system transition, he began, holding his mug tightly. Megan's team is working around the clock, but certain aspects of your architecture are proving challenging to understand. I nodded. I documented everything thoroughly. Yes, the documentation exists, he leaned forward. But some of these customizations, these connections between systems, they're quite unique. Translation. They couldn't decipher 16 years of specialized work in 12 days. Yesterday, pediatrics lost access to monitoring systems for 5 hours, Jason continued. The day before, medication dispensing went down completely. We're facing serious safety concerns, potential regulatory violations. I sipped my coffee. Sounds like the modernization is proceeding well. His expression tightened. Thomas, I'm prepared to offer you a 1-year contract as implementation consultant. Triple your former salary. We need you to guide the transition. The offer was almost comical. After firing me, he expected me to return and properly train my replacements. I'm afraid I've already accepted another position, I said. Jason's coffee mug froze halfway to his lips. Where? Westlake Hospital. Westlake. But they're our direct competitor. Yes. Jason set down his mug. Thomas, be reasonable. You built these systems. You know them better than anyone. We're talking about patient safety. That stung because it was meant to. For 16 years, I prioritized patient safety above everything. My family, my well-being, my life. I agree, I said carefully. Patient safety is paramount. That's why I recommended against rushing a system migration without proper transition planning. I believe that recommendation is included in my documentation. Jason's face flushed. The board wanted immediate action. Modernization is crucial for our long term. I start at Westlake next Monday. I interrupted. I wish you and your team success. He stood up, desperation replaced by anger. Your severance package includes a non-compete clause. You can't work for a competitor for 6 months. I smiled for the first time. Actually, it doesn't. My attorney reviewed it before I signed. There's a confidentiality agreement, but no non-compete. I'm free to work wherever I choose. Jason's expression darkened. This is about revenge, isn't it? Making us suffer because I let you go. I walked to the door and opened it. This is about finding somewhere that values 16 years of expertise instead of dismissing it as outdated and ineffective. Good luck with your innovation, Director Reed. After he left, I sat down and finished my coffee. I didn't feel triumphant or vindictive, just tired and a little sad. My phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Martinez. Administration in full panic mode. 6 departments down. Emergency board meeting called. I didn't reply, but I saved the message. Not as a trophy, as a reminder of what happens when experience is treated as disposable. By Saturday, the local news had picked up the story. System failures plague Evergreen Medical Center. Patient care compromised. I watched from my living room as a reporter stood outside the hospital where I'd invested 16 years of my life. Sources inside Evergreen confirmed that multiple departments have experienced technology failures following a recent IT leadership change, the reporter said. The hospital has implemented emergency paper procedures while experts work to restore critical systems. My phone rang. Catherine Wong from Westlake. Seeing the news about Evergreen, she said. Are you doing okay? I'm fine, I replied. Looking forward to starting Monday. About that, Catherine said. I just received an interesting call from someone on Evergreen's board, a Dr. Winters. I remembered Dr. Winters, chief of radiology, one of the few board members who actually understood the importance of my department. What did she want? To verify you had accepted our offer, and to share some troubling information about the situation at Evergreen. I sat up straighter. What information? Apparently, Director Reed didn't decide to replace you independently. He's been working with TechMed Solutions for months. The name hit like a punch. TechMed was a healthcare technology corporation known for taking over hospital IT operations and then increasing prices once systems were dependent on their proprietary platforms. Jason brought in their consultants as part of a larger deal, Catherine continued. TechMed offered significant upfront savings to Evergreen's board. Jason would receive a performance bonus for cost reduction. The pieces fell into perfect place. My termination wasn't about modernization. It was about clearing the path for a corporate takeover of our systems. The board didn't fully understand the technical implications, Catherine added. They trusted Jason's assessment that the transition would be seamless. I thought about the specialized systems I had built, systems that prioritized patient care over corporate efficiency, systems designed to serve doctors and nurses, not billing departments. How bad is it really? I asked. Catherine paused. Dr. Winters said they've had to divert emergency patients to other hospitals. Critical care units are operating on manual protocols. The state regulatory board is investigating. I closed my eyes. This wasn't what I wanted. I never wanted patients to suffer. There's more, Catherine said. Dr. Winters mentioned that before presenting the TechMed proposal, Jason had all department heads sign a technology assessment. The assessment claimed your systems were obsolete, non-compliant, and at high risk of failure. That's not true, I said, anger finally rising. We passed every compliance audit with 99.95% uptime last quarter. Dr. Winters knows that now. The board is realizing they were misled. After hanging up, I found an email from Dr. Winters herself, sent an hour earlier. Thomas, I owe you an apology. The board approved Jason's IT restructuring based on incomplete and misleading information. We've since learned that the systems you maintained were, in fact, exceeding all industry benchmarks for reliability and security. Jason and TechMed presented us with manipulated performance metrics and false comparisons to justify the change. The situation has become serious enough that we've called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. I'd like to invite you to attend and share your perspective. No obligation, but many of us would appreciate hearing directly from you, regardless of what you decide. I want you to know that many of us now understand the disservice that was done to you and to our hospital. Sincerely, Rebecca Winters, MD. I sat back, letting the truth settle around me. This wasn't just about dismissing a loyal employee. It was about deliberately dismantling a functioning system for profit. I arrived at the hospital boardroom Sunday morning, exactly 15 minutes early, the same way I'd arrived for every meeting during my 16 years of employment. Several board members were already present, including Dr. Winters, who greeted me with a handshake and a grateful nod. "Thank you for coming, Thomas," she said. "I wasn't sure you would." "Neither was I admitted. The room filled quickly, department heads, administrators, and physicians I'd worked with for years. Jason arrived last, stopping short when he saw me seated at the table. Megan trailed behind him, looking considerably less confident than the day I was terminated. Dr. Winters called the meeting to order. "We're here to address the ongoing system failures and to reassess our relationship with TechMed Solutions." She turned to me. "Mr. Hartwell has graciously agreed to provide his assessment of the situation." All eyes turned toward me. For 16 years, I'd worked invisibly behind the scenes, solving problems without recognition. Now I was center stage. The systems at Evergreen were developed over 16 years to address specific needs. I began. Every customization, every interface was created to solve a real problem faced by medical staff. These weren't outdated systems. They were specialized tools. I opened my laptop and connected to the projector. On screen appeared the documentation I had meticulously maintained, hundreds of pages detailing every aspect of the hospital's digital infrastructure. "Everything needed to maintain these systems is here," I said. "Complete documentation, contingency procedures, security protocols. The problem isn't the documentation. The problem is that TechMed's platform isn't compatible with the specialized systems this hospital depends on." Jason interrupted. "The compatibility issues are temporary. TechMed has successfully implemented their solutions in dozens of hospitals." I displayed my second document, a detailed comparison I'd prepared overnight. "These are the hospitals where TechMed has implemented their platform. Notice anything?" Dr. Martinez leaned forward. "They're all new facilities or recent constructions." "Exactly," I said. TechMed works well in hospitals built from the ground up on their platform. But retrofitting their system onto established hospitals with legacy requirements, that's where they struggle, which TechMed knew before they approached Evergreen. I turned to face Jason directly. "Their own technical specifications, which I've highlighted, show the incompatibilities with our pharma.